Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV. I'm sitting here at Carlisle, have won 1-0 away from home at Brackley Town. In a game that, look, it definitely wasn't the best game of football in the world, but it's a clean sheet and a win away from home, and at the end of the day, yes, there's issues with that performance, but look, the result speaks for itself. We won, clean sheet, another goal for Regan Linney, top goal scorer in the division, up into third in the table with only 3 points off top. It's not a bad day at the office, is it? It's not much to complain about, I don't think. There's certainly issues. It wasn't a great performance. I think we looked very, not unorganised, but very almost disjointed in the fact that we couldn't really connect from the midfield to the attacking line. Again, it was a problem last week against Sutton. And admittedly, I think Sutton were a better team, and I think the performance was almost on a par with Sutton. Just maybe a little bit more defensively sound, but obviously I don't think they threatened as much as Sutton did. Look, we're going to come up against teams like Brackley, who we are better than, and maybe we can rely on a bit of individual quality to get us the win. Trust that they're not going to pose too many threats going forward like we did. And we're going to get games like that. Sometimes we'll absolutely batter them like we did against Braintree, or sometimes when we're off our game, we can, glide or kind of coast to a 1-0 win. Both of them count as 3 points on the board, but look, if you perform like that against Forest Green, if you perform like that against Hartlepool, against Southend, against, the better teams in this division, even if you play like that against Wealdstone or, some of the teams we've already beaten this season, you don't win. But there's a lot of teams in this league, like Brackley, like Braintree, that are going to be at the bottom end of this table that you can perform like that against. It's not sustainable. You can't do that every week. But we did what we needed to do against the opposition in front of us. And look, I certainly think there's an issue. I think Gilead, his debut, I think he played very well. I'm not entirely sure he's the answer at right wing or midfield, wherever he seemed to play. He seemed to move around a lot, but I do think there's an issue on that right wing position with Luamba gone, because we haven't looked the same since he left, or not since he left, but since he got injured. Linney again looked fantastic. He seems to be the danger man, even whoever we have at striker, whether it's Armstrong or Kelly. But yeah, look, things do need to change with that starting 11. We need to find out what's happened with Feeney. We need to find out what's happened with Luamba, how long he's out for. Maybe the signing of Alex Gilead means that Linney's going to... not Linney, it means that Luamba's going to be out for longer than we'd hoped for. We've got that almost as a kind of cover up until January. But I certainly think we still need to change Terrell Thomas at centre-back. He made mistakes again today that against better opposition we'd have been made to pay. But look, we won. It's another win. It's a win away from home, and hopefully we can take that win into the next game against Truro at home at Brunton Park. And look, Truro haven't been a good team since they came up today. I'm not entirely sure what that game finished today, but I know they were playing against 10 men for a lot of the game, and I know they were 1-0 down for a lot of that game. Truro are struggling in this league, so we need to be aiming, not expecting, but aiming for another result like Braintree against Truro. Hopefully. It's difficult to say because things are so flip-flop at the minute. It's one way or the other with Carlisle fans at the moment. It seems to be either we're the best team on earth or we're terrible. And that came against Braintree when we were the best team on earth, and then we were the worst team in the league against Sutton. This is like a happy middle ground. It's a more realistic middle ground where we haven't played well, we haven't looked good, the football wasn't exciting, the game wasn't good, but we've won. We're better than Brackley. We showed we were better than Brackley, and yet on another day we probably could have drawn that game. But individual brilliance from apps and people online seem to think it was Wern that made the pass forward. I thought it was Jack Ellis, but either one. A bit of individual brilliance from them making the pass, and of course a fantastic run, a fantastic touch, and a fantastic finish from Linney meant that we go 1-0 up and meant that we saw the game out. I don't think Breeze was ever really under much threat. I think the defence did a fantastic job. Although under little pressure, I don't think Brackley really threatened going forward. But yeah, look, things to change, and there's not much you can say about that game because it's very similar to what we've seen so far this season. Things need to change, but a bit of individualism, you know, a bit of our players being better than their players, not necessarily playing better as a team, but just having better personnel in the team has meant that we've won that game. And look, it's very early on in the season still. Very early on in the season. If we can get these wins, if we can start playing better together, if we can gel as a team a bit more, get a bit more confident winning every week, then maybe it'll start turning into better performances. Because look, we seem to have been jumping to conclusions very, very early on in the season, and I include myself in that, but the more I sit back and think about it, we're 7 games in, under, quite frankly, a very new manager and a very new team. We're 3rd in the league. And if we can just build on that and progressively get better over the course of the season, while staying within touching distance of that title like we are now, then there's no reason come the end of the season, you know, when we've played together as a team a lot, we're gelling a lot better, we're playing a lot better, that we can't push on and we can't push a team like Rochdale or Southend or whoever's going to be top of the league come then. And it might even be us. I certainly don't think that we're going to have a situation like last year where a team can get 90 odd points and not go up. I certainly don't think any team this season will break 90 points. So if we can just keep going, keep a little bit of start building a little bit of consistency, start taking some confidence from these games, then there's no reason we can't be there come top of the league. And look, don't get me wrong. We play like that against a lot of teams in this division, we get beat. But play the opposition. Play the game in front of you. And, you know, yes, I'd like to be barring teams like Brackley, but coming off the back of 2 seasons where we haven't really won any games at all, a scrappy 1-0 away from home, I certainly take. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. A bit of a grounding win, this one. But yeah, let me know what you think. Again, use code Blue Army Brews, all caps, for 10% off at Cumbrian Tea and Coffee. Brilliant business. But yeah, keep using that link. I'll put the link down in the description, and I'll put it as a more usable, a more clickable link in the comments. But yeah, just click on that link, use the discount code Blue Army Brews. I'll put it up on screen now for 10% off. And yeah, I know a lot of people already buy that, so, you know, help the channel out a little bit, help yourself out a little bit, get a discount, and carry on using a fantastic product. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and in a bit.